Giving a very different feel than the mood in that city right now. And someone very affected by what happened in South Carolina is President Obama. And he's calling on the country to enact tougher gun control measures in the wake of what we saw in that church massacre. Take a listen.
I've had to make statements like this too many times. Communities like this have had to endure tragedies like this too many times. We don't have all the facts, but we do know that, once again, innocent people were killed in part because someone who wanted to inflict harm had no trouble getting their hands on a gun.
That's the simple part, understanding how this happened. What you do about it, not so simple. To weigh in, CNN political commentator and host of the Ben Ferguson Show, Ben Ferguson, and CNN political commentator and host of HuffPost Live, Marc Lamont Hill. Let's start with the context of why the guns become relevant. Ben Ferguson, do you see this as a hate crime?
I do see this as a hate crime. I see this also as domestic terrorism. I see this as a horrible tragedy by a sick individual that obviously had no problem sitting with people, praying with people, and then killing them. This is one of the most heinous crimes we've ever had to talk about. It's awful. All
right, so sick, not necessarily mentally ill. We don't have any proof of that. You can take drugs and not be mentally ill, and you can certainly be hateful and not be ill. Marc Lamont Hill. So that's the backdrop. That's what it is. The question becomes, why did it happen? He's a white supremacist. He's a deluded, hateful individual, and he had an opportunity. That opportunity, part of it was the gun. Make the case for why the gun is relevant enough to deal with on a policy level.
Well, whenever you have a national tragedy, it's important for us to respond to the national tragedy at the policy level as well. Some people say you don't play politics now. No, now is the exact time to deal with policy, not in a way that compromises our ability to respect and honor the dead, but in a way that allows us to prevent this from happening again. That's what is happening right now. President Obama is saying, hey, wait a minute, this is a great time to have a conversation about guns. At the same time, he's waving the white flag saying, look, nothing's going to happen. Congress is too weak. We don't have the political will for this. This is a challenge. I would be the first to say I'm not sure that reasonable gun control, which is what I support, would have stopped this from happening. He didn't pull out an AK-47. He had a .45. Even if we had given him background checks, he probably could have gotten it from his father. So I'm not saying that this is a Sandy Hook situation, which was entirely preventable with reasonable gun control.
Well, we have split reporting.
Yeah.
We have split reporting here as to whether or not he used birthday money to get the gun or the father actually gave it to him. Recent brushes with the law don't qualify.
Right.
Vetting about drug abuse is not on the books in South Carolina. So background check is a defined term and doesn't mean much in that particular state. Does that bother you on a policy level, Ben Ferguson?
I don't, and the reason why is I think that the laws are appropriate. If you are a felon, a convicted felon, if you've committed a heinous crime, you do not have the right to go out and purchase that weapon. But the reality is here, if you do get busted for some sort of drugs that you have, whether it be prescription drugs or even marijuana, should you lose your Second Amendment right to own a gun? The answer is no. You do not lose that right. There are a lot of people every day that are, that make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you lose your right. And the bigger issue is this. And I agree with Marc, this is not where I think a gun control law, even if it would have been passed, would have stopped this from happening. If you banned .45, which we believe this gun to be, would you have banned a .40 caliber or a 9mm or a .357 or a .38? I mean, all of these issues are, this was a basic gun and you could get rid of this caliber, there's still another one. And the reality is, we don't know how he got it yet. We don't know if his dad bought it. We don't know if he bought it with his own money at the age of 21. So I don't think jumping into a political debate about gun control would have changed any of this.
Right. But the debate is still important. As Obama said, I've done this too many times. This is at least the 14th time he's had to respond to a massacre. As he said, no other developed nation has this happening. We also have the loosest gun control laws. There is some correlation between the fact that people have so much access to guns and the fact that people keep dying, and we do have to take that seriously.
Right. Hey, help us
I'm not
understand,
disagreeing,
Ben.
but this is a real. Let me say this. I think this is an important point to make. What bothered me yesterday about the comments from President Barack Obama is the fact that if you want to challenge someone on gun control, don't talk to the Republicans. Talk to the Democrats that have also not pushed this through. The president had an opportunity to act on gun control in his first 2 years in office. He had the votes in the House and Senate. The Democrats were the ones that said, we don't want to go there. And Democrats, when they were in control of the Senate as well, after we had another tragedy with guns, they also chose not to act on this. So you can act like you want to blame the GOP,
the president
but
would agree. The problem is that the GOP, not really, but these Twitter right.
Well, the Democrats refuse to deal with it, though.
Are saying the president hasn't done anything on this. You would agree that's not true. He has tried to do things on this. His own party didn't help him, and it didn't get done.
I don't think he pushed it hard. If you look at the record of what this White House has done, they have not. They've given. Hold on. This is look at the. You have to look at the votes and look at the agenda. Okay. The president could have used and spent a lot of political capital to push gun control laws right when he became president and after tragedies. They chose not to do it. Saying something in front of a podium is completely different than having a policy decision to push for it.
The problem with that analysis, Ben, is that you're lumping the legislative branch in with the executive branch. The president did push it through. 5 months after Sandy Hook, he's standing up saying, I can't believe we've done nothing. There is a shame, and the shame is on us in Washington because we haven't been able to do this. It's Democrats in red states, that didn't push this through. You can't blame the president for that.
But you also wind up, let's just button this up. Unfortunately, we'll have more occasions to have this conversation. Where you two agree is really the saddest statement, which is the state of jurisprudence on the Second Amendment does not allow any meaningful gun law change that is in the type that President Obama wants, and the political will isn't there, and when people are polled, they don't want it either. So, Michaela, as we go back to you in Charleston, there's a lot of talk about